paint a vision vivid enough about what this family's going to be like. Here's how we're going to treat each other. Here's how we're going to interact. Here's what this family stands for. Here's some principles that are going to guide how we make decisions. Here's some principles that are going to guide how we treat each other.
You know, the title leader can be a lofty title, but fundamentally, I think the primary purpose and goal of a leader is to set vision and facilitate change or facilitate action.
And what my mom and dad kind of held dear to their hearts became the values that I adopted as well.
I think definitely you need to be their friend, but also someone they can look up to and know that they can trust to follow. I think you want your kids to know they can trust you, and that's how they can learn that they can follow you and that you can be a good leader for them. So just establishing patterns of trust. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And I think just being a good example to them, doing what you say, what you explain to them, you need to be living in your life also.
Having bad leadership in the home will really hurt the kids. And you can, and really what I found in my work as a therapist is that it's the extremes that really hurt the child. Parents that are way too strict will hurt a child, and parents that are way too permissive will hurt a child. Flexibility within the parenting relationship and the parent-child relationship is also really important. That you have to listen to your child, you have to work with them, but on the same hand, you can't be too much of a fish that the child can kind of do whatever they want. They have to know that there's consequences in life and that there's accountability and responsibility.
Failure in leadership at home results in perhaps less growth, less opportunity for relationship improvements. We all have our own agency. We can act and we can act how we feel we want to. We can do and be what we want to be. Despite a good leader or a bad leader at home, children have agency to be and do and develop how they want. However, with appropriate leadership, what they can become can be substantially greater. They have a more fertile ground in which to grow.
I think what makes a good leader is somebody who others can look up to and want to emulate and follow.
In a good to great leader, I'm looking for someone who knows how to put the needs of others first and foremost in her or his mind. And yes, that person has to have the authority given to that individual to be able to lead. You cannot lead without some authority accorded to you from the people that you're leading. But that person is mostly about serving and putting the needs of others before his or her own.
My dad's an old farmer from Idaho, and I was running for a school student body office at one time. And I asked him, Dad, what's the greatest trait of a leader? And it's interesting because it impressed me then, but since it's impressed me more and more and more every time I think about it, that this farmer from Idaho had it right, and he said, the successful leader is one who can recognize and utilize, put to use, the leadership traits of others. And everybody in an organization or family has something they do really well. And you try to get people in the right spot where they can blossom, where they can shine, and where they can be successful. Then the chance of them staying with you longer or better, the chances of them accomplishing things. And so the leader gets to think outside themselves. It's not about them. It's about having 5 people, 10 people, 20 people around them who are all being successful at their particular jobs. And it's not always the knight in shining armor that comes in on the white horse to save some, turn around the company or whatever. You look at the history of those, and it's usually short-lived and it's usually pretty turbulent. But if you look at the leader that has a lasting legacy of making other people successful and running successful businesses, so they've got these principles. They don't change from one to the other with the flavor of the day. They've got principles that guide what they're doing. They stick to it, and they do it in a way that's not about me. They're humble. You may not be, again, in the flashy news or whatever else, but you'll be remembered as that person who helped me, that mentor who helped me succeed. I love that person. I'm glad I worked with them. What a blessing it was for me to be able to be around them and just learn from them. That lasts. You had kind of have to have a hierarchy of where your values are. And so if you're a leader, people are going to expect you to lead at home, they're going to expect you to lead at work. You expect that of yourself. And so you have to really sit down sometimes and say, okay, where are my priorities? And part of taking care of your family is having a job. Part of having a job is you got to do well at that. So part of making your family important in your life is to be a good provider and do well at your work. But you can get out of balance with those.
Mom and dad have a lot of pressure on them to be outside the family and to be busy. And in today's world, the best thing a child can have is a parent that cares about them, that's there for them.
I'm a list person, so usually in the morning I make a list of things that I need to do, and that's house things as well as work things. And so if I know there's cleaning I need to do, and I'll write that down, and projects I need to do, and then I try and look at them timing wise and look what I have to do that day, and make sure that I have set aside time for my kids also, because I find setting time aside for them makes it easier for me to get work done, because if I'm just working a bunch and ignoring my kids, then I'm not really getting work done because they're bothering me. So I try and have my one-on-one time with them, and then I say, okay, it's quiet time and you need to read books, or my daughter takes a nap every once in a while, and then that's my quiet time too, I call it. And I'll work then, but I do limit it during the daytime that they're awake, because my first priority is being a mom.
I do have sacred family time that I don't compromise on. And that when I have those times, I don't answer the phone. And if it's an emergency, I have people that will take those emergencies off my hands.
And all of us have a limited number of hours during our day. Many of us have families. I'm a husband and father of 6 children. I have service responsibilities at church and stewardships there. I'm running a small and growing company with a lot of demands. And believe it or not, I've got hobbies, things that I like to do. And any one of those things could take up my entire day if I let it, or if I wanted it to. And so focusing on the main thing allows us to prioritize areas in each of those areas of our life and say, if I get done the most important things, the things that will make the most difference right now, maybe it's okay if the less important things don't get done, because there's more things to do in a day than is possible to do. But if we can focus on the things that are most important, then the results will be spectacular.